Thank you very much. If I could please have Saline Police Officer Don Lupi, Saline Dispatcher Terry Seams, Pittsfield Township Sergeant Matt Hornbeck, and Pittsfield Township Police Officer Robert Cole join me on the stage. Good looking group of guys here, huh? So good evening. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Jared Hart, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of serving as your Chief of Police here in the city of Saline. Bless you. I would like to bring your attention to Thursday, January 4th, 2018. If you remember anything about last winter, it seemed like it would never end, and it was very, very cold. This night was just about on par with that. The temperature was about 10 degrees. We had several inches of snow on the ground. The wind chill was about -10 to -30, depending on the gust. And about 9 p.m., Dispatcher Terry Seams received a phone call from a gentleman who was living in Ohio, and he shared that his 33-year-old sister was in the area of our Speedway gas station on Michigan Avenue. And she was driving a dark-colored minivan, and she may be experiencing a mental health crisis. So something that was very concerning to us. Officer Don Lupi was keenly aware that Ed Gauthier, one of our other police officers, had just handled a hit-and-run accident 2 hours earlier at this very same gas station with a vehicle that fits the description. He had a conversation with our complainant, the caller, and encouraged him to have his sister reported as a missing person down in the city of Monroe where she lived. Soon thereafter, we started receiving phone calls from the Sheriff's Department in Monroe. Officer Lupi and Officer Gauthier had already began searching the area. And what we were hoping for is that the Monroe County Sheriff's Department would do what we call a ping on the phone. That they would be able to say there's exigent circumstances, somebody needed our help, and they would be able to find the location of at least where this person's phone is. So we did actually receive that information, and it looked like the phone was in the area of Woodland and Industrial, but I think the radius was about a quarter mile. So Officer Lupi began a foot search along with Officer Gauthier. Dispatcher Seams continued to receive the information from the phone company and got on a mapping system and was able to figure out where the phone was last located and where our police officers were based on GPS information. Due to the frigid temperatures, Dispatcher Seams also requested assistance from our colleagues at the Pittsfield Township Police Department. Very soon thereafter, Sergeant Matthew Hornbeck and Officer Robert Cole were dispatched to aid in the search. After over an hour of searching in -10 to -30 degree wind chills, Dispatcher Seams received a phone call from an employee over at Flat Out Bread. He stated that he could hear a woman calling for help in a nearby field. The caller also reported a suspicious dark-colored minivan, which kind of fit the vehicle that we were looking for, in their parking lot, and stated it had been there for at least 3 hours. So a very long time for somebody to be out. It was unoccupied, the door was open, and a lot of the winter clothing was left in the vehicle. Officer Lupi summoned medical assistance, and he and Sergeant Hornbeck began following the footprints in the snow from the vehicle. And they soon located, about 100 yards away from the vehicle, the 33-year-old mother of 4 lying on the ground in the snow. She was disoriented, she was missing a shoe, and she was not wearing a coat. They both picked her up and carried her, over 100 yards to Officer Cole's vehicle, where they wrapped her up in a blanket and waited for the ambulance to arrive. And once the ambulance arrived, they carried her to the ambulance, and she was taken to an area hospital for treatment. When I spoke to the family the next day to check on their loved one, they were extremely grateful of our staff members' performance in locating their loved one. They stated that her core temperature was 88 degrees when she arrived at the hospital. One of her legs was very swollen due to frostbite, and she was just in a very perilous situation, so they were very grateful of our intervention in locating her. This particular case demonstrates the teamwork that's needed to keep a community safe. Our 911 dispatchers, working with citizens and police officers, vigilant community members reporting calls for help, and police officers from another jurisdiction, providing much needed mutual aid. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Don Lupi, Dispatcher Terry Seams, Sergeant Matthew Hornbeck, and Officer Robert Cole displayed exceptional teamwork in saving this woman's life and returning her to her family. Please give them a round of applause. All yours.
Now you're stuck with me. Congratulations. Thank you. Surprised to have so many of them up here, so. Yeah, congrats, man. Let's see who's next. Congratulations. And last but not